Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wings of Fire book review. Today it's on book 9, Wings of Fire, Talons of Power, told by the perspective of Turtle the Sea Wing. And so for those of you who want more insight into what the book is about and you haven't read it yet, it says, for every villain there is a hero. Turtle isn't one of the heroes he reads about in stories. If he were, he'd use his animus powers to help Pyria, instead of keeping his abilities a secret even from his own sister. Now that Darkstalker, the sinister and impossibly old dragon from Pyria's most notorious legends, has returned, Turtle knows his own role is simple: hide and stay hidden. The other dragons at Jade Mountain Academy, on the other hand, think Darkstalker is fascinating. He charms everyone he meets, including Turtle's most skeptical friends. They all seem convinced that the ancient dragon has changed. Turtle isn't so sure. The more he watches Darkstalker from the shadows, the more Turtle knows that So needs to stop the powerful dragon, a real hero. But Turtle is running out of time to find one, which means he might have to try to save the day himself. And so Turtle's whole story is so fascinating to me because of what happened in the prologue. And so you see how he goes from wanting to be this big epic hero to hiding in the shadows because of this one mistake, and it revolves around his father and his sisters. And so what happens is Gil finds that the watcher or the guard for the royal hatchery is sick, and so Gil tries to get some help. And this is when Orca's statue is killing the Sea Wing princesses. And so they need to have someone on watch to make sure that no one goes in and kills them, even though we already know that the murderer is in the room. And so Gil tries to get some help to try and replace Abalone, and so Turtle offers to go find someone. And so Gil's like, okay, try and find Snapper. And so Turtle goes, and then Gil waits for a very long time. It's unknown how long, but it's a while. And then Gil's like, screw it, I'm just gonna find someone myself. And so by the time that the healers get into the hatchery, Abalone is killed, and so are his daughters. And so Turtle is blamed for this. He's like, I'm still looking, and Gil's like, you failed. He said it mostly out of anger, but this moment scarred Turtle because he wanted to help and he couldn't do that. But like the one time he tries to do something useful and show his parents what he can do, because he has so many brothers and they're kind of overshadowed by the need of a new heir. And so Turtle, this is a breaking moment for him, and so ever since he never got a chance, or he never wanted to stand out. And so at one point he lets Anemone take the show, and he enchants her to be an animus. She wasn't born one. He didn't want himself to be known as an animus. He didn't want to stand out. He thought he didn't deserve it. And so once Darkstalker comes out of the mountain, he immediately enchants his stick to make him not known to Darkstalker's presence. And so he's like, I thought there'd be more of you. And everyone's like, wait, he can't see Turtle. And so we find out, throughout the book, that Darkstalker enchanted Kibble and Winter and Peril to like him. Everyone thinks he's not as bad as he seems. And Kibble's like, something's off. And so Turtle enchants an earring to wipe away any animus magic that Darkstalker is cast when when someone wears that earring. And so Kibble's like, I was under a spell. And so now we know that we cannot trust Darkstalker. And so the Darkstalker makes everything showy, and he's all about that, and he loves Anemone. He knows that the princess is flashy and wants to do these all elaborate tricks. When Darkstalker and Anemone meet, she summons this lightning storm, and Turtle's like, oh gosh. And Darkstalker tries to act like a hero. He knows his tribe now isn't the same tribe that he once knew. They're still recovering from the Nightwing Island. And so he enchants the Nightwings there to have abilities. Moon is a little more skeptical still. and he tries to help Stonemover because Stonemover was about to get killed by Flame, and so he makes this as like a heroish moment, like he tries to save the day, and so more people or more dragons put their faith and trust into Darkstalker, and Turtle's like on edge, like he doesn't know Darkstalker's softer side that we see later on in the book. And so Darkstalker thinks that he should meet the Rainwing Queen or the Nightwing Queen, Queen Glory, and he wants to see his tribe. He wants to see what's going on. And so Moon, Turtle, Anemone, and the other Nightwings of Jade Mountain leave with Darkstalker. And so, Flame, and it's seen that Flame was the dragon who had the mind, or I can't remember what it's called. It's not the mind reader, or the soul reader. It's where they communicate by dreaming. I can't remember what it's called at the moment, but it turns out that he was the one who had it, and Starflight thought it was lost in the volcano. Like, Sunny had a dream. Oh, yeah, it's Dream Visitor. Sunny had a dream visitor. Scarlet has a dream visitor, and it looks like Flame was the other dragon who had it. And so, anyway, and then so they go to the Rainforest Kingdom, and so we get a moment with Kinkajou. Darkstalker is like, he meets the queen, he challenges her, and he tries to, like, he's like, I challenge you for the Nightwing throne. He's like, I feel like the Nightwings need a king, a leader to help them. Not that Glory isn't bad, like, he doesn't try to shadow Glory, but he tries to convince the Nightwings especially that he should be followed. And so he makes another showy entrance with Nightwings, like Strongwings and Fierce Teeth, who are trying to murder Glory. And so he captures them in this jail or this dungeon, and so he captures them. Although there is one Sandwing that we do not see, and he says that he was forced to kill him. And we'll get to back to that in Darkness of Dragons, so there are no spoilers. And so he like offers gifts to the Nightwings. He just hands them out like it's nothing. And Turtle's like, he's too powerful, but Turtle's basically watching Darkstalker's every move. And I love Turtle is such a relatable character. Like, if I was in this situation, I wouldn't want to stand out either, and I feel like the writing is really good. It's a quick and short book, and the pacing, I think, is done really well. I also, before I move on with the plot, I love the settings. Like, we go from Jade Mountain to the Rainforest Kingdom. We end up going to the Old Kingdom of Night, and at one point, the Kingdom of Sea. So I love how much is going on in this book, even though it's one of the shortest books in the series. The only book being shorter is The Hive Queen. And so I love how Tui wrote Turtle off. Even though some people think that he can be a little bit worthless, or, but I find Turtle really cool. And so we do get a little bit of redemption with him regarding his past in the future of this book. Anyway, so Darkstalker convinces most of the Nightwings, like very few stay with Glory, either because they're still loyal to Glory or because they're still too afraid of Darkstalker. But majority, like I would say 85% join Darkstalker, maybe even 90% join Darkstalker. Like less than 100 stay with Glory. And that's how quickly and fast, like this is just in a matter of days, maybe a week. That's how fast that these dragons fell into Darkstalker's loyalty. And so he leads them to the Old Night Kingdom, and this is a moment where we get to understand how Darkstalker truly feels. And so one night while they're traveling, Turtle follows Darkstalker because he goes off by himself. And so Darkstalker finds himself crying because he misses Clearsight, and this is probably one of his most vulnerable moments for Darkstalker, because he apologizes to her and he wants to have another chance, and it's a really sad moment because this is the real Darkstalker, and he sees his tribe as like soldiers and slaves, and it's not the same anymore, because it's now 2,000 years later, and it's like everything is crippled before him, his home, his tribe, and he wants to give Clearsight another chance even though she's gone. And so Turtle he lets a marble appear, and about Turtle's enchantment on himself, nothing that, like, Darkstalker cannot remember who Turtle is, but whatever Turtle leaves behind, Darkstalker can see. So Turtle leaves a marble in front of Darkstalker, and he thinks it's Clearsight, and so he tries to get her to come back, but then he convinces himself that it was Fathom who convinced Clearsight to put the bracelet on Darkstalker, and so he's like, he's the one I blame. And so then Turtle's like, if he doesn't like Fathom, his own friend, then there's no way he's gonna trust Turtle. But they go to the Night Kingdom, and I can't remember what happens further. I think that's where we get drama with Anemone. Now, Anemone wants to be seen by Darkstalker, acknowledged, like she wants to be high above, like, his tier list. But Darkstalker's paying more attention to Moon, and so Anemone is very jealous. And so Anemone enchants a mop and to, like, keep hitting Moonwatcher so she cleans, and she enchants jewels to distract Darkstalker because she's jealous of Moon. She doesn't like her. Darkstalker catches this, and this is a very big mistake on Anemone's part. And so Darkstalker kicks her out, and so he's like, go kill your mother. I don't care what you do. Just stay away from me and everyone. And so Anemone's like, fine, and then she leaves. And Turtle's like, I can't let her kill my mother. And so he follows her. And Anemone tries to find a dagger to murder her mother. I think it's the same dagger that Albatross used, because they go to the island, the old island palace, I think, where the massacre occurred. And so Anemone's gonna kill her. I think before this happens, though, Turtle does meet with Coral in the Kingdom of the Sea while he's still searching for an enemy. And he speaks with Coral, and we see Auckland, and it's so cute. It's noted that she, like, plays with steams of bubbles, and it's so adorable. I love Auckland. And Coral speaks to Turtle respectfully. And it's a good mother and son relationship here. And she explains to Turtle how it wasn't his fault for his sisters being killed. And so she says that Snapper was not where she was supposed to be. She wasn't seen anywhere. And so him searching still, it was not Turtle's fault. And so she says that Gil meant to apologize or accept what Turtle did and to not have a grudge on him anymore, but he didn't get the chance to say it because he got captured by the Skywings, and then he later on gets killed by tsunamis, so he never got that chance to say, it's okay, Turtle, I accept your apology, and so that gives Turtle some motivation, some momentum, because he's like, it wasn't my fault, and so this gives him a boost of energy and pride to help save the dragons that he cares about. And so that's when he goes to tell Anemone, when he finds her, like, I enchanted you to be an animus dragon. And Anemone's like, no, you didn't create me, you didn't make me. And so then she ends up having this full-blown animus fight with Turtle, and this is like, she's out for blood at this point, and Turtle is trying to protect himself, and it's pretty even. Like, he's like, Anemone, I don't want to fight. And so, but Anemone's just, like, out to get him. Like, she hates Turtle right now. And she's like, she blames herself for Whirlpool's death because she killed him. And this whole thing goes down. She's like, if I'm doomed to be evil because of my animus magic, why not just be evil? And Turtle points out that it's not the animus magic, but the choices that you make lead you to make worse and worse decisions. And so he's like, it's not your magic, it's you. Or that's what he thinks. And so he calms Anemone down, and they agree to stop Darkstalker or save their friends. I can't remember exactly what they agreed to, but she was gonna enchant Anemone for them to be forgotten by Darkstalker. But because she was stuck in seaweed for her to not use her animus magic, which was enchanted by Turtle, Darkstalker comes in, and it turns out that, like, oh yeah, earlier in the book we find out that he enchanted himself to know if an animus dragon was using animus magic. So Turtle couldn't use any animus magic, and so that was a limitation in this book. And Kinkajou wakes up in this book, also in the rainforest. Like, Turtle has had this crush on Kinkajou. Anemone finds out about this in part 2, and she enchants her to wake up from a coma that she might not have waken up from, and also enchants her to love Turtle as much as he loves her. And so this was a horrible thing to do. Turtle hates this, and Anemone's like, I did you a favor, calm down. But it's not a good thing. And so Kinkajou acts a little more lovey than usual, and Turtle does not like this. I wouldn't either. And Kinkajou and Turtle are kind of like partners in crime. I really like Kinkajou. Like, the moment she sees Darkstalker, she's like evil, and I love it. Kinkajou is awesome. One of my favorite Rainwing characters for sure. But later on in the plot, like, Darkstalker brings all animus dragons into his throne room, and no one can enchant any animus magic except for himself. And so we see Stone Mover, there's Anemone, there's Turtle, there's Darkstalker, and we see this unfamiliar Sandwing, and we do not know who this is. And so I find that an interesting mystery in this book. And then she's like, bloop, gone, so we don't see her anymore. And then Darkstalker enchants Stone Mover to say how many animus dragons are in this room, and he says there's 4, because at the time Sandwing just left. And he's like, oh, someone's cloaking, and he's like, I enchant whoever loves this dragon I enchant whoever this dragon cares about the most to, like, come here now. And so Turtle's like, oh shoot, I need to reveal myself, otherwise Kinkajou's gonna get hurt. And so he reveals himself, and at first he's like, Fathom, and he's like all angry with Turtle because he thinks it's Fathom, and immediately he just hates Turtle. He also places an enchantment on an enemy to obey his every command at one point. And Turtle reflects on this as the same spell that he enchanted on his own father, Prince Arctic. And we saw how that ended up. Because Kinkajou is not affected by Darkstalker's magic, she kind of plays in as being enchanted by him for her safety. And so Anemone and Kinkajou are sent away, and this leaves, I don't know where Stone Mover went, I think he's also enchanted to leave, but this leaves Turtle and Darkstalker alone. And so Darkstalker's like, I promised Moon I wouldn't hurt any of her friends, but I don't trust you because you're an animus dragon, so I'm sorry in advance for this. And so then he enchants Turtle to lose his animus magic. He's stripped from it, and it's so sad. It's at the end, he's like, he describes it as the tingling in his claws is now gone, and then he feels completely ordinary, helpless. And so it's a sad feeling, defeated feeling. And so Darkstalker, who is now king of the Nightwing, sends Turtle off to the dungeon, and Turtle's role is now over. And it's sad to see how quickly things escalated, and now how Turtle needs to be saved. And I did forget to mention that throughout this book, Turtle writes notes to Kibble that only goes to his way. Kibble can't write back or anything, and so we'll get to more about that in Darkness of Dragons. And the epilogue is quite intense too. We see that there's chaos in the Sandwing Kingdom, and Sandwings think that Thorn doesn't care about them anymore. The Seawings think that there is a vengeful ghost of Prince Albatross coming for revenge. And the Ice Wings are suffering too from a plague. And Queen Glacier ended up dying. Hailstorm finds out about this. And so there's just chaos ensuing. And all of those problems are from Darkstalker. But it's just madness at this point. And we are left off at such a big point in this arc. And I absolutely love that feeling at the end. It's like you want to see what happens next, like how is this gonna end, and I will share my thoughts on that with our next book review with Ghibli. And Turtles, like between Kinkachu and Enemy and Ghibli, maybe they can save the day. And so that is this book, and I absolutely loved it. I love how intense it was, how relatable Turtle was. The cast of characters were really nice. We get to see the Dragonets of Destiny. At the beginning, we get to see Queen Glory and Queen Coral. I really liked the characters that we saw, and it was really nice. And I feel like the plot wasn't slow, maybe a little bit in the beginning, but there's moments like that in a book to digest before going on to the bigger plot points. I think the writing was also really good. There's nothing wrong that I have with this book, except maybe it could have been a little bit longer. Maybe some events could have been switched around differently. I don't know. Maybe some character development in some areas, but there is very little negativity I have with this book, and I definitely suggest reading it if you haven't. But don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, folks, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye.